Everyone's kerfuffling.
Hello, everybody. Welcome here today to another kerfuffle. 3 men and a Proptech baby. So delighted to have my compadres, my muchachos, a wonderfully coiffured Richard Durant wearing a resplendent summer merch kerfuffle kit. How are you, Rich? You okay?
Very well, Mr. Whale. You?
Yes, I'm good. I'm good. Obviously, looking forward to having my haircut today, so I'm going to look as wonderful as you. And Paul Morgan, the Terminator, the guru of tech. That's as much. I was going to go down a whole count of Monte Fisto, but I ran out of superlatives. How are you, Paul? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Good. Nice to see you again, Simon. Terminator. I'm not sure about that one.
Well, no, actually, I'm not going down that route. Look, I am obviously I get excited about everything because that's my job to be the enthusiast. But I am excited today because we're looking at Dataloft, aren't we? One of our faves. And we are allowed to have favorites because we are giving you our opinions. And just to reiterate, this is going to be a short, sharp overview of one of our key suppliers on the website. We ask all of our suppliers if they give us a 10-15 minute video to give an overview of. We will then just give an overview of that information ourselves and hopefully give some insight. So that's what we're going to do today. The wonderful Grant from Dataloft has given us that information, this video here that we're going to go into now. So I think, Paul, you're in charge of the technology, aren't you?
Is that wise?
You never want to put someone in charge of tech in charge of tech.
It was better than me doing it. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look at this baby. And this is the Inform product we're looking at here.
James, how are you? Thank you for joining, and thanks for joining so promptly, actually. Really appreciate it. This demo is going to take about 30 minutes, I'd say, unless you ask me a whole stream of questions. And this is on the back of actually our discussion last week where you confirmed to me that you really want to start to sort of push out to your audience, your marketplace, local content to complement what you guys already do at Kings Hill, and a lot of the great stuff that you do. Actually, I do follow you on social media.
Could you just pause that there?
One of the things you're missing,
I think it's really important here, isn't it? Just for those people, many people might have heard the name Dataloft, but just to give the overview at the moment, Dataloft in my head do what a lot they have the same assets that a lot of other kind of data companies have in here, but their job and what they've done really carved a niche out is they probably better than anybody else are able to visualize that data and put it on a footing that non-property people feel really, really comfortable taking advantage of, don't they? Getting into that local information that we know obviously ticks the box for so many so many potential vendors and of course buyers and all the rest of it. Is that right? Is that how you guys feel about them?
Paul?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel they're a data presentation company and they allow an agent to position themselves as a local expert without the agent having to spend a lot of time creating the data to become the expert.
That's right.
And I think it's developed, hasn't it, over time, and it's now a couple of clicks of a button and the agent has all of the information, whereas years ago, everybody knew it was valuable information, but the amount of work you had to do to get it out there actually meant a lot of the time you didn't, whereas what I think Dataloft do really well is just have it presentable.
Yeah. And famously, large numbers of their team came out of the research departments of some of the top end prime agencies, where they would just be poring over Excel spreadsheets and, literally slicing and dicing the numbers here. And what they've done over time, haven't they, is evolved it onto this really interactive platform that I'm hoping we're going to see now. Is what I hope we're seeing. And again, this is the first time I've seen it. I've seen it at other clients is that it is easy to use and it doesn't get lost in the detail, because that's always a risk, isn't it?
Definitely. And also things to look out for while we're watching the video, simple navigation things. So, the layout's obvious. Save downloads really useful to keep in a history of what you've done in the past. So, there's lots of stuff for us to point out, even just looking at this front page. So shall I press play?
Yeah, go ahead.
I guess it's like a Trivial Pursuit cheese circle. That the little segment that's missing, you confirmed, was that local content. So I'm going to show you today. I'm going to give you some examples and show you how we can really help you sort of boost your brand even further across the three most important channels, which is your social, which is fundamentally important, even more now. It's your shop window, email marketing, and also across the sort of print distribution. So I'm going to help you absolutely become that local fountain of knowledge that's going to get you lots of instructions and really elevate your branding across your marketplace. So let's have a look. I just wanted to share with you, and one of the big differences with Dataloft Inform is it gives you the ability to go down to postcode sector. And I think that's really important, because I talk to lots of agents on a daily, weekly basis, and some of them tell me, well, we're okay because we share some sort of town information. But actually, what would make that even more exciting is the fact that, you know, why don't you drill down further? Because that's what people are really going to want to see. You know, again, I say it to everyone, what's every homeowner and landlord got in common in your town? They're all interested in the market. So actually, to have that ability. So look, for example, I know your marketplace is in and around the HP area. So we click into here, we click down into HP. Let's say you wanted to target homeowners or landlords within the HP. Let's go 13. Let's mix it up a little bit. Let's go HP 13. And as you can see, it'll find it on the map. Just click on the other HP 13s, because this is the area you want to target, and put some really good stuff across social. There you go. It's those three areas, and it looks like it's East High Wycombe. So for the benefit of this, I'm just going to call it East High Wycombe.
That's so easy, isn't it? It's so easy to create a custom territory. I love that. Just pull up one and then click on a map.
It's so easy, but I think it's probably underplayed the value. So bizarrely, I know High Wycombe, and I've worked in that market 10 years ago. And the difference in High Wycombe itself and one of the villages, you know, Princess Risborough, Hazelmere, is vast. A completely different market, a completely different audience, and every piece of data will be different. You know, how quickly the properties sell, average prices. So if you are going out to these villages with a combined High Wycombe HP, it won't be relevant in any of it because it's just diluted.
Simplicity is a beautiful interface. As you said there, that ability to drill into the minutiae of the data really makes that, you know, and people overuse it, but that hyper local thing can't be overstated, as you just made that point so well there, Rich. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's true. You know, it's High Wycombe's quite urban, isn't it? You know, lots of properties at a very wide price range, whereas you go into, say, Princess Risborough, you got the council estate on the hill, but the rest of it quite an expensive area. So yeah, it's cool.
So we know. Okay, so that now is a created area. I'm just going to click on save, and there we go. That area is now, and you can see it there. So everything within Inform, sales data, the lettings data is relevant to that postcode sector of East High Wycombe. Now, one of the great things is, I know your website has been done by the wizards over at Estate Apps, and actually, wouldn't it be great to differentiate yourselves away from the competition by having some local market data in there? It's a great way to attract people to your website. And if you talk about it on social media, signpost it. What's even greater is if then you could turn that into a bit of a data capture. So grab those email addresses, telephone numbers of homeowners or landlords within your area that really are interested in the market. Let me share with you a quick example. So here's one I made earlier. So we can see here, again, actually, this is in Estate Apps, what we've got here under buying, market insight. There's our widget. So if people want to know what's going on, what's happened in the market before they want to make a decision, this is a great page to push them to. Now, what's really clever about this is there's our market reviews. which is what you can obtain on Inform. Even better, we've got 2 fantastic calls of action. 2 calls of action that can help you generate leads or get names and addresses or email addresses of your customer, offering them something of value to get them to leave those details. So that's within the API section. We also talked briefly.
I'm only pausing it really because I want to mention that sign up form later. So the fact that it's just been on, I want to highlight it's just been on.
About your social media, as much as you're good at it, yeah, and as a brand, you're very strong on social media. Wouldn't it be great just to have some additional bits of content that you can send out? So we give subscribers one of these and one of these a week. They're generic, they're UK. Actually, what you do is in the post, you just mention your town, just tag your town in it. Give your thoughts of what you notice within your market. Wouldn't it be great as well? They're great 2 a week, 8 a month, but we can give you a back catalogue as well. Full of content. Not only are these great for social media, they're also excellent for email marketing. You might have a landlord or landlords that you want to engage with regularly. Now, every agent generally wants to up their game on email marketing. So actually having some quick content that will be relevant to your landlords. So in here, click on review, rental, search, there you go, bingo. Brilliant bit of content just to keep it going. It's visual. People are more than likely going to look at it rather than a massive long wording in an email. So
Paul, can you pause?
Yeah, just pause it there because I was thinking about I often hear, when we're consulting with the agents and we're doing the dual consults, I often hear you talking to agents about having a reason to ring a landlord. And the pitch often begins with, in particular, a landlord on with another agent, and the pitch often begins with, I'm sure your agent's told you this, but, and then there's things to say. And this is a great sort of thing to slip in there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think as agents, I think that most of us understand the importance of getting lots of content out there, depending on who you listen to, whether that's 1 piece every day, 6 pieces every day. The challenge is, from an agent's point, is even though I understand the importance, if you're giving me 2 choices for that hour free I've got, and that is create content or go and do evaluation, regardless of I understand the value of the content, I'm going to go and do revenue generating activity. And my mindset is that that's evaluation, not write a blog post or create content. So the fact that you've got, a library available, it just makes it easy, doesn't it? And there's no excuse not to.
And that ease of use means it happens, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. That could be on a news report on the BBC or whatever else there, couldn't it? It's absolutely eye catching. Takes you, you know exactly what you're getting to, and that clarity is just so important.
Yeah, and I think that some agents will be a lot better than other agents, but if that's a Facebook post, where do you own rental property, and does this ring true? All of a sudden you're going to collect some data, aren't you, from people engaging with that post. Yeah. Now, if you're a member of an affiliate group, is that a lead? Could you get leads from it because people are engaging with you who live in your area but have rental properties outside the area you trade? There's lots of levels you could take it to, but as a bare minimum, there's some just very simple content to go out at a touch of a button. And
Paul, you're the expert on this, but having that omni-channel, that omni-platform, this can just be used everywhere, can't it? That phrase they talk about, repurposing the content, is absolutely spot on here.
Absolutely, yeah. And we can reuse this content at different levels of the funnel. So could use this at top of the funnel, to get people engaged, which said to get phone numbers for people who we don't currently know. Equally, when I press pause, it could be to ring up landlords who we know are on with another agent. Could even be advertising with their agent, just ringing up, and as long as you use a phone number or an email address, there's a story to tell. There's a reason to get in touch. It's great.
it'd be really fascinating to understand. I can see a lot of the agents. It'd be really interesting talking to Dataloft to understand more. I can understand a load of them will be putting this out, blasting it out on emails and putting it on social. I wonder what percentage of their client base is literally plotting this out in nurture campaigns. That would be fascinating to understand how, over a period of time, given that reciprocity, giving this sort of information, consistent drip feed, what effect that has. It's got to be cumulatively impressive in terms of making sure that you are trusted as the public's go-to agent, property professional.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot you could do with this. I mean, some great examples. You could combine it with propensity to sell data, and then just target the top 10% of people who are likely to move in the next 2 years in your area. That would reduce your Facebook costs and hit a really high demographic. You could repurpose this for advertising to people who have visited your sold page on your website, and advertise to those, via Facebook or via Twitter or via email or whatever mechanism you want to use, and just reinforce the fact that you are the local expert. And all of that, it can be done in 2-3 clicks. It's probably going to be a 5-minute job for someone, so it's not going to get in the way of ours. It's great.
Yeah, brilliant.
And we're all worried about stock shortages. This is the type of information that's going to get people hooked into you now, so that when they are ready to put the house on the market, they pick you.
One final point on that, Paul. So we've talked about social channels, we've talked about nurture campaigns, etc. I wonder how many agents are getting real success during their valuation pitch, because they are able to demonstrate what is going on in a very small market, and also use it to convince people to sell or convince people to let by showing them various different trends.
Do you go to many MAs where you have to convince them to sell? Because most MAs you go to, people want you convince them to use the agent, but there's not many that you go where you have to convince them to sell. They either want to sell or they want a valuation for some other reason, but they're not really in a mindset for sale.
Yeah, I think it depends on what your marketing. I know this is going to sound really old-fashioned, but we also always had great results from valuation day in your road type marketing. And what we knew was there would be a load of people who had a slight interest in what the value of their house was because number 17 sold, and they felt that by us going there and putting a leaflet, and we were in the area anyway, that they would call us out. So if you can then demonstrate what's going on the market, you're never going to be able to convince somebody who has no intention of selling, but somebody who's considering it but not ready yet. I just feel it has some value.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
Email marketing, they're perfect as well. So when we spoke originally, you said about that what your aim is to become that local expert, sharing some local data. So actually, if I gave you all of land registry stats, all perfectly presented right down to postcode sector, so it's easy for you to just copy and paste or download, even using this in your pitch packs as something different. Let them see something different than what they would with the agents, that in and around you. You might want to drill down further. You might want to start telling stories with this data across social media. Wouldn't this be a good post? This is East High Wycombe average sale prices over the last year. Tell a story with what's happened over 25 years. Like this, it's just thinking about it. There's a lot of data there for it to pull together. And you can see that should just change. There we go. Look at that. What a story. Would that engage homeowners in and around your market over 25 years? Show them what's happened. You might you might be doing a sort of presentation to a new build. I know you're big in the new homes market. You can present this in price per square foot. You can filter the property types. So lots of stuff there within the data. Same with.
So I don't really want to put a negative on this, but where I think this works is brilliant is when you're looking at the data and you kind of come up with a narrative from the data you're looking at. Where I think this would where agents would struggle with this is if they had a narrative they wanted to sell already, and they had to route around looking for the graph to support that story that they wanted to give. And I think it's just an agent needs to keep that in mind. You know, it's the data is the story, not you've got your story, find me the data to back it up.
I can totally see where you're going with that. Yeah.
But I love that conversion to square foot and things like that. It's brilliant. There's so much functionality here that makes everything easy for the reader to understand.
And I think, Paul, and I do completely agree with your point, but we're estate agents and we can put a spin on anything at all. So if I want to demonstrate market research, market share, I'm going to narrow it down to 2-bedroom semis with a loft conversion and a south-facing garden to demonstrate. But, you know, you could use all of this data, price reductions. I'm sure you could get the data to tell the story in some ways, but I do completely agree with what you're saying.
You're going back to the good old days of Vizzy Homes there, aren't you, with your market share stats?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, only have properties with a conservatory so the price looks higher, that kind of thing.
The lettings, we're extremely unique on our lettings data. Our lettings data comes from tenant referencing companies. There is no one else like it. I think obtains that high level of data. It's achieved rent. It gives us a bit of tenant profile as well. Great to share some of this stuff with your landlords across your social media. Attract the landlord's eyes. Become that local expert to the landlords in your town. I'll move across here. Now, this is where most of our agents, our subscribers will spend their time. I know that you guys use Spectre. Wouldn't it be great to have a letter that's different, looks and feels different? It's not your usual touting letter. It's just a letter that has a bundle of stats on the right-hand side. Just cements you're the market experts. You understand the market. And these letters we've heard, you know, from lots of our clients that use them have got some great return on investment stats by using those letters. There's 3 sales, 1 lettings.
I really like that. It's the first time I've seen letters with the stats down the side just as kind of infographics.
Really clever, isn't it? Really good. And we did. Well, I think we actually did the webinar on Kerfuffle actually when Dataloft and Spectre launched the partnership, and I thought back then that's a really clever tie-up, isn't it? You know, to bring these two, the raw data that Spectre has in there with their letter capability, and then Dataloft's ability, as you spoke about before the presentation point, where you can see there, you'd be aching to get these out, wouldn't you? I'd just be a bit worried about branch managers without any limit on spend, basically, on postal. But the rest of it's great, and I think that we were talking about before. What was it that you got those? They gave you twice weekly stats as well. Sorry, the images to send out as well.
Yeah,
2 pieces of content a week and then a back library.
So that
along with the narrative as well.
You've got the tangible stuff you can hold in your hands and you can see being reinforced, whether that's on social or email as well. There, that effect's got to weigh in quite heavily in terms of a brand builder over time.
Yeah, and I think there's so much more people could do. So with my lettings hat on, and I probably don't know enough to make a valid comment on it, but you've got all of your landlords. Retention's a big thing. They all own a property in an area. What's the harm in chucking this onto the back of their monthly statement, which gives them an update about rental market and the value of their asset? You can just use all of this data in a variety of.
Did you pick up on that point there that I don't think I was aware of before, that they get a lot of their data from the tenant referencing companies? That is I haven't heard that from any of the other sort of data companies out there. That's quite a big point, isn't it?
Yes, so I don't think agents use it. So I think that for complete transparency, I think a lot of the referencing companies provide it to the agents. But as with lots of things, what do you do with that data provided? Yeah. And what does it mean? What this does really well is tells the story, doesn't it? Without having to do anything.
Making sense of the noise, as it were.
Yes.
It's a good slogan, that. Okay.
We spoke about door drops. I know you're you're still big advocates of door drops if the content's right. Well, look, what if I can give you a flyer that just gives market information? Nice subtle approach. Nothing about you as an agent, just about what the market's doing. there might be something on here that might just make that homeowner think, actually, the time is right. Maybe it's that. All of these are editable. But actually, what you did say to me is that you wanted to create a...
Wouldn't that be a good leaflet drop for all the local properties that had price decreases yesterday on with competition?
I really like that. I know we live in a digital world and everything's digital, but I genuinely believe that there's probably a better place for, traditional mail door drops than there was 10 years ago. Everything which drops through my letterbox, because there's so little, I read. Whereas my email box is constantly full. I'm not noticing that. So I love the fact that they have the decision on whether to do traditional mail and how easy it is.
God, I just had a really weird feeling of deja vu there. Sorry. I've heard that from quite a few though, Rich, to be fair. Quite a few of unsurprisingly, those with a bit of an interest in print, but enough to hear it validated by agents as well, who are saying, yeah, look, there is a real resurgence in the effectiveness of hard copy. And I don't think, the key point should be is, unless you really have to pick either or, it should be a blend anyway, shouldn't it?
Completely.
Okay.
I think so too. I think if you take an image like this and combined it with a tool, like Spoke or Integrated Interest or all those kind of digital platforms, Raw, where they could take an image like that, push it out to a custom audience on Facebook and other social media, targeting a really small audience to say homeowners in a particular postcode with stuff like this, then it's brilliant. And what you can also do is, if you remember earlier, I paused the video and we paused it on a web page with a load of stats. At the bottom, there was a call to action, a button where you could fill in your details. It'd be so easy for this as a printout and as a bit of digital marketing to feed back to that form. So the form shows the same stats as the printout. Yeah. And the Facebook ad shows the same stats as the printout, so consistency of message, all leading to that one digital form where you can start collecting names and addresses and phone numbers of people to ring who are soon interested in putting a house on the market. So
I think that's brilliant, Paul. Yeah,
you've got so much power here. Just use it in a slightly unusual way. It's great.
But and here's the thing, isn't it? If you take this through, most of the best CRM packages these days, I don't know what they call it now, but at Repit when we were there, it used to be called Digital Agent, and basically that functionality to be able to book in an appraisal, live from the form, this information teeing you up, and the CTA directly leads you through to the ability to book a market appraisal or inquire for extra interest. That's really powerful stuff.
Definitely.
Okay.
Resume.
Yeah.
A market update every month on social. But there's a great graphic. These can be used across to download PDFs like so. So you could download that and just use that as your graphic. Here's our monthly roundup on the East High Wycombe market. What you might want to do, again, email marketing. Notice I go back to that social email marketing or print. Email marketing, there might be a lettings one. It's visual, looks great. You can attach that to an email and send it to your landlords. What landlords aren't going to see value in that? Finally, we've got the reports here. So as a way, most of our agents will use these across email marketing as a way of, if you work with us, Mr. Homeowner, one of the things we're going to do for you, we're going to educate you on the local property market on a monthly basis, free of charge. It's in our DNA. We love to educate you and help you make better informed decisions. There we go. You might want to just download that as a JPEG and put that out on social. If anyone would like one of our market reviews, you might want to print it off and take it out on every.
That is a big hook. I think he's underplaying that a little bit. The idea of pushing one of these out as a bit of content and then saying, if you want to be updated every month, give us your name and address and we will keep you updated every month. Yeah. And very quickly become known as the kind of local statty agent. Now, people might not believe that being the local statty agent is a good thing, but I've got this book here. It's by Barbara Corrigan. She's an American real estate agent in New York. She went from a single branch agent to making over $1 billion. And her book talks all about putting out data. She just became the source for all the data for all the newspapers in New York. Just kept pushing out all information about properties, and she built her brand by pushing out the data, and it really made a difference for her in that kind of tight, densely populated urban area. But there's absolutely no reason why it couldn't work in rural areas as well.
Absolutely right, spot on. You know, own those chimney pots. The Aussies do it particularly well. I think we spoke about it before. If you talk about as a farm area and what you do with farm, you keep nurturing it, you keep growing it, don't you? It can. I don't. Yeah, I think you're probably. I think you can be a bit stronger, actually, Paul. You almost said there, you know, whether you want to be or not be the statty agent, it can't harm anyone, can it? But it can only impress those that do need to be convinced. So I think it's a massive, massive win. And as you said, unless you've got those research departments that the likes of the Savills and the Knight Franks have, you know, where they've got 20, 30 people obsessing over all the key stats and everything else, this tees it up for you on a plate.
Definitely. It doesn't really matter what the homeowner reads it. As long as they get it every month, they see your brand.
No, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
I heard a fantastic story about a next door neighbor actually going with one of these, because they saw one of the bit of the hard copy, and they asked where and who did that. So it led directly, it wasn't actually the homeowner they targeted, but the neighbor was so impressed that they did it there. And that's a residual effect, isn't it? You find very difficult to track other than through kind of stories like we just, word by mouth stories, but we know that it does work, and that's where the beauty of print still comes in, isn't it?
Definitely. It wasn't your old neighbour, perchance.
No.
Every client that you see in terms of valuation, just something different. Let that be the focus point of the conversation in terms of this is how we've got to some of our decisions today, is based on looking at this market snapshot and what the market's done. But landlords, every landlord, that'd be a non-negotiable. Every landlord, if you sign up to us, we're going to educate you on the market as well as manage your portfolio. So hopefully you've seen lots of local market content today that you can share with your audience, your homeowners, your landlords in and around your market, and you can just become that Google, that property market expert, and by sharing that local market content across the different channels that we've spoke about: email marketing, social media, or print, and even we've looked at website content. So really appreciate it listening. Hopefully you're going to sign up, and because we would absolutely love working with you. I'll speak to you soon. Thank you.
I do love Grant. Well done, Grant. Thanks for getting that over to us. So I think there's a couple of things there. First of all, we all know how time poor agents are, and we've taken a bit longer talking about it. But if you can't spend 10, 15 minutes as Grant has just there to go through this, I would be really surprised. That this is something that is worthwhile reaching out to those guys, isn't it? And seeing how it looks in your own particular area.
Without a doubt.
Definitely.
A doubt. I also think there's probably a bit more to it as well. So the agents who believe they're not, the average agent and their market price is higher, well, actually, that can only strengthen your proposition. That if the average price is 400 grand and you can demonstrate that the last 17 houses you sold are at 650, you're using somebody else's stats to position yourself as the agent of choice in that particular market.
Spot on. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's such a simple top of the funnel tool to use, to maintain interest in the agency, and it also, keeps loyalty, doesn't it? It'll keep vendors coming to you and prevent landlords going away. Goes back to what we said earlier in chat about, gives you a reason to ring somebody up. We all know the classic ring them at Christmas, because at Christmas you don't need an excuse to ring somebody up. Well, if you're only ever going to ring them once a year, that's no good. But this gives you a reason to ring somebody every month.
And that repetitive brand reinforcement will mean that actually they're going to be more likely to take your call as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
Great stuff. I think this is one of those ones. I mean, we say it all the time, but definitely go and have a look at Dataloft's page on the wonderful pink website, kerfuffle.com, because they are one of those very popular reviewed sites there, and I think just reading through a smattering of the comments gives you a really strong justification for for knowing that this isn't just some salesperson doing a good pitch, is it? This is very much delivering on what they say they're going to do, the old one seal approach. So, and of course, go and have a look for the deal that's on the table as well there, because here at Kerfuffle, we like you guys to get the best. So make sure you do that. Any closing notes, guys? Or I think it's fair to say we never do this, but are we 3 thumbs up?
Thumbs up from me.
Thumbs up from you. There you go. We'll have to actually get some sort of award or something, because that's a bit lazy, isn't it? But for now, we're keeping costs down. Okay, chaps, thank you once more for again all our 3 men and a Proptech baby. I look forward to the next one. And suppliers, of course, please forwards our 10-15 minute videos, and we'll happily do a job on you too. Thank you very much. Cheers, guys.
Thanks.
Cheers. Cheerio.
Everyone's kerfuffling.